These are the Chat City interviews from 103.2 Preston FM.
On 103.2 FM.
From Leyland to Longridge.
And Wood Plumpton to Walton Ledale.
It's your community.
Your radio.
Your Preston FM.
And nice to welcome on this Monday morning my first guest into the studio, and that's Tenray and Tony Morgan, who are here to tell us and talk about the prestigious BIBA Award. So a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Hughie.
Before we talk about it, for those who don't know, what are the BIBAs? What does BIBA stand for?
It's the Be Inspired Business Awards.
And they've now been running for how long?
I've certainly been involved for about 6 years, but I think they go back about 10 years. But certainly in the last 4 to 5 years, it's become, the business awards that everyone wants to win.
So tell us, what's it all about? What happens, and who can apply to take part in the BIBAs and maybe put themselves up for an award?
Well, the BIBAs is now closed because we've done the final judging round. But essentially, it opens in January and then goes through to about 2 weeks ago. And any business can apply for the awards. There's about 16, 17 categories.
And how has it changed over the year? I would take it that you're getting more and more people than ever now who do want to put themselves forward.
Well, we've had a record number of entries. We've already sold out on all of the tickets for the big night on September the 12th. There's over 1,050 tickets sold, and we've got a closed waiting list of 120 people.
So why is it so popular? I mean, why is it that people are putting themselves forward? What do businesses, etc., get out of this?
It's not just an award process. For me, when I was involved 5-6 years ago, as an applicant, what I found was that I came away from it with some real value, because you're being judged by people that have been there, worn the T-shirts. And certainly being a sponsor and a judge now, I've wanted to try and make sure that other people get the same value. So it really sort of takes an in-depth look into your business. It scrutinises every area of the business and asks some really deep searching questions about what your achievements have been, and understands the pain and the torture that you've put yourself through to actually get to where you are today. So we've got Lancashire is alive with some incredible business success stories. And
we were also saying that maybe you would have thought, given that we've just been through the recession, we're told the green shoots are now appearing, that maybe there would have been a reduction in people applying, but that's not been the case, has it?
No, I think the Lancashire tenacity and commitment of our business leaders and the workforce is incredible. And right the way through the recession, we've done a really good job in Lancashire to grow our businesses without much help. And I think the BIBAs really recognises the pain, the tenacity that people have been through to actually survive the recession. The green shoots are coming. But I think, honestly, over the last 6 years, survival has been an incredible success for most businesses because, as I said earlier, there's not been much support.
And I understand Lancashire is one of the, when it comes to small and medium business enterprise, is one of the fastest growing areas in the country.
Yeah, and let's not forget micro businesses as well. There's a big surge of micro businesses within the local region. The advantages of super fast broadband, internet, brings communities closer together around the UK. And Tony, you know a bit more about super fast than me?
On the superfast thing, I'll come back to in a second, but in terms of the growth in businesses, we've seen an awful lot of businesses come to us for the free training we offer on the superfast product. So, from micro right the way through to large businesses, there's a huge wave of optimism, I think, in businesses really embracing new technologies coming forward and seeing that as a way of driving both themselves and Lancashire as a region forward into the future. I mean, if you compared it to 150 years ago when the railways expanded out of Lancashire, it's a similar sort of thing. We've now got a data revolution going on, whereas that was a steam revolution. So there's a lot of people really picking up on the technologies that are available and using that. But that's not just the only reason why we've got great businesses in Lancashire. There's an awful lot of heritage and expertise. If you look at the universities we've got and the apprentice schemes that are being driven across the county, there's an awful lot that added together makes this a really good place to do business.
I'm kind of knowledgeable about small and medium businesses. What would we term a micro business?
So that's anybody from a single individual up to probably 10 employees. There's a whole raft of different descriptions of these, but anybody with less than 250 employees fit into the small and medium enterprise bracket. Then you can segment that up. So 1 to 10 is micro, 10 to 50 is small, 50 and above is medium usually.
And you being out there and seeing this constantly, where is the growth? I mean, is it in the commercial sector? Is it where's the growth
everywhere.
coming from?
The growth is everywhere.
Yeah.
The last stage of the interview process was actually the BIBAs for the first time going out on tour, and that basically meant we had the opportunity to meet Lancashire's workforce. I mean, we understand what the workforce is like in our own businesses, but I have to say I was incredibly impressed with the workforce and the commitment of the staff out there, because they're doing some incredible stuff. Because in previous awards interviewing processes, we met the owners and we met the senior management. This year we've met everyone within those organisations, and because we had 4 to 5 people inside each of the judging categories that were actually reviewing that process, we were able to divide and conquer when we went round and met these businesses.
So actually I'd just like to say, from Superfast Lancashire's perspective, when we took on the sponsorship, the headline sponsorship of the BIBAs this year, it wasn't just to do the branding piece. It was because the BIBAs, the way it's set out in terms of training the judges, so we got something out of that, so development for us as an organisation, but then to actually go into the businesses themselves. So we're not just seeing paper businesses, you get to touch and feel what these guys do. And I've got to say, it was a real privilege to go and meet the people out there, and I'd like to say a really big thank you to the management and the employees of all the businesses that we visited. Made us really welcome, were really open, and just let us see and touch the businesses as they really are. And there's some fantastic businesses in this county, from people in the environmental space right the way through care homes, advanced manufacturing. So all of the whole gamut of the sectors were all represented within the Business Awards. Certainly the category that we judge, which is Business of the Year.
And talking about Superfast Broadband, I know, is it, I've not got the information in front of me, but I remember from when we've talked before, is it 2015 that the target was set? And it was quite a high target, wasn't it, to bring Superfast broadband across the county. How's that going?
The rollout is going really well. I mean, you'll obviously get the odd hiccup where we can't, get through a duct in the road or something, but overall, the rollout is on track. So by round about this time next year, 97% of the county will have access to fast, reliable, stable broadband. And in some of the rural areas where there's been very little up to now, just the fact that they'll get our broadband signal will be a huge sea change, which will help businesses right the way across Lancashire to really understand the power of broadband. And if they take advantage of the free training we're offering for businesses to understand that power, then we can really drive forward businesses. Just give you a tiny example of how we're making a difference. There's a printer, he's a graphic design and print organisation in Blackpool, Sean Bennett, so Link Science and Graphics. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to plug in, but there you go.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Are.
So he came in and he was a bit not sceptical, but he was open to learning. So we taught him all about social media and how to use Facebook and the web to really drive his business. Well, within a couple of weeks of implementing this within the business, he had contracts drop into him from Eurotunnel, from Porsche Racing. These are organisations way outside the footprint that he would normally be touching. So, Sean reckons that now this will be looking like a 10% increase on his bottom line just by opening the doors to what Superfast Broadband can bring a business.
Oh, that's very interesting. And I would imagine now there are many other businesses out there that still don't actually see the relevance of using social media.
Yeah, there's an awful lot. I mean, most of the studies that have been done in the small business arena show that small businesses actually pick up their knowledge of social media from home use or from colleagues. So what we're doing is teaching people how to professionally use social media to really, if you think of it in a 4-stage thing, so it's about getting people to know you, then getting people to like you, getting people then to trust you as a business, and then people will buy from you. And now you've got the ability with social media and super fast access to be able to do that an awful lot quicker rather than the old-fashioned method of, being face-to-face with people. People are more open nowadays to being approached through various media.
And Norman, for anybody listening in the business world who maybe has not yet had any contact or doesn't really know much about the BIBAs, what would you be saying to them?
Well, there's a couple of things I'd like to say. I mean, the first thing is, if you want to find out more about the BIBAs, then obviously go to www.thebibas.co.uk. This year we've got two announcements. One is the BIBAs Academy and the other is the BIBAs Foundation. Both of these are going to focus on helping the Lancashire business community to actually move forward. The Academy is actually going to help businesses to actually gain additional skills for anyone that's been involved in the BIBAs. So we're actually going to look at helping to put a support package and a marketing and any sort of skills that are missing to actually project those businesses forward going forward. And the foundation is actually going to be helping the future inspire the future generation of business people coming into the market, so to improve confidence and leadership skills and that type of stuff. So obviously there's going to be a lot more press release coming up on that in the future. The other thing that I wanted to actually say is that obviously on the night there's going to be a special announcement, and you're not going to prize that out of me here, because I think the two scoops.
Not? Come on.
Well, the two scoops we've given you today, obviously with the BIBAs Academy and the Foundation, I think is enough for the moment, and then we can release a bit more. But what I would say is that the BIBAs, in my experience, being on both sides of the fence, truly acts as a catalyst and is life-changing for anyone involved. It's not just about winning. Winning is absolutely brilliant, but in most sports, in most competitions, coming second or third doesn't really mean much. So I would actually say anyone that's involved with the process at all, even from a sponsorship side, it's an incredible experience and actually quite humbling to see the level of commitment and tenacity and skill that we have within Lancashire. It's very humbling, isn't it, Tony?
Absolutely. I totally echo those sentiments. I mean, from a sponsor perspective, as I said earlier, we didn't just come into this because you wanted the branding out there. That's been fantastic, because everybody in the business community knows the BIBAs, and by association Superfast Lancashire has got a real good ride on the back of it. But the things that are happening behind the scenes, the North West Lancashire Chamber are not just doing this as a badge of honour. It has real benefit for both the businesses now, and as Norman said, with the announcements made going into the future, it will be a real legacy for the county. So Superfast Lancashire really, really pleased to be associated.
And I would imagine it's also a brilliant way of businesses networking.
Networking's brilliant, and you can't underestimate that, especially on the night. But what I would say is that the whole process is an incredible experience, because it really gets you to look at your business. Most of us are too busy, dealing and pulling out with fires and sort of moving things forward and dealing with staff issues and stuff. So to actually take time out and work on your business and understand what you've done. I mean, to put an application in, how would you describe what you've done in the last year in 2,000 words, and how would you present that to 4 people to work out how successful you've been and what you've overcome? It's a hell of a task. So there's a great deal of effort and commitment that goes into the businesses that are actually applying.
And the Academy and the Foundation, that's going to take off soon, is it? Or is it actually just underway now? Has the process begun?
We've been working on this for the last 6 months, and I have to say it's an incredible opportunity to be involved in something that's going to actually do so much for the Lancashire business community. The BIBAs is an awards process that is genuinely not for profit, so all of the profits that are made from the BIBAs are invested back into the community. The nice thing about the Academy and the Foundation is it gives us some real structure and a focused way of actually pulling that money back into the community to develop it and evolve it. And Tony and I were talking outside about how difficult the process has been, because it's really hard.
How difficult what process?
The process of judging in the BIBAs, because obviously you've got a huge level of entries. And for us, the process has been made far more structured, and I wouldn't say easy, but it's a lot more focused, structured and stuff, and that's made it a lot easier for us to actually go through the process, because we've got strict guidelines to actually work to that have been developed And I have to say Lancaster University has done an incredible job, because I think this year it would have been virtually impossible with the quality of the applications that have come through, from micro right the way to large businesses.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. In terms of the judging the Business of the Year category, the Superfast Lancashire team, we started off with 12, whittled that down to 8, and then we went out on the road. These are businesses in different sectors. Now, to be able to compare those without any sort of structure would have been extremely difficult. These are all world-class businesses. So to have that structure, to be able to step back from the glitzy bits, let's say, of each business, and take a controlled look at each element of business, from management right the way through to staff development, makes the process far more structured. And it really does come up with, at the end of the day, we walked out of that judging room happy in the knowledge that we'd given everybody the same chance, but came out with a really good business as the winner.
Right.
I think the work and the research undertaken by Lancaster University took a lot of the subjectivity out of it.
Yeah.
Because in previous years it's been incredibly hard, and I know that there were various categories this year that were still arguing up until 7:30 at night, even with that guidance. So I think it would have been virtually impossible when it was supposed to finish at 4:30.
Yes.
So an extra 3 hours.
So again, just quickly, tell us about some of the categories again. Some of the categories are?
Mine was Small Business of the Year. And like Tony said, incredibly hard, world-class, fantastic environment. The businesses, just getting them down from 12 to 8 was difficult enough. Then trying to get it down to 8 to 1 was virtually impossible. It was unbelievable. So the message I would like to send to all finalists is, you've got incredible businesses, you've all done incredibly well, and I would market the hell out of being involved in the BIBAs, because to be in that final 8 or even the 12 is an incredible achievement.
Okay, well, again, tell our listeners who've not yet had contact with you how they can find out more.
Yes, again, it's www.thebibas.co.uk. Get preparing, write down all of the success, all of the heartaches you've been through, and prepare yourself for next year, because it'll be back bigger and better next year.
And they can enter when? Is it from January, did you say? 2015?
2015 will be the BIBAs 2015, but 2014 BIBAs haven't gone yet. So
that's right.
September the 12th is the big night of celebration, and anyone who's anyone will be there.
And where's that being held this year?
At the Blackpool Ballroom Tower, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been split into two, so the presentations are actually in the tower, and then the ballroom will host the gala dinner.
So a bit of red carpet treatment.
Absolutely.
And genuinely, a big surprise on the night, and it's going to be
which
an
you can't
incredible
tell
night.
me about.
No, I'm not going to tell you, Hughie.
Hughie's not told me about it either.
Is that right? Yes. Well, find out outside the door and then nip back in when he's gone and let me know. So just before you do disappear, I've been playing music from the Guildhall over decades. Have you ever seen anybody there? Anybody that comes to mind? Have you seen any of the big acts that they've had on here in Preston?
I haven't personally. I've been up here for 6 years now, and I think a revival of the Guildhall can only be good for Preston. Preston needs a really good venue.
I agree.
If you've got the nighttime economy through the Beard and Press Fest and stuff is gathering momentum. We've got a very, very vibrant city, and we need to invest in it. It will bring business for the nighttime economy, and it will also help business community generally. But we need to focus in on developing Preston as a city and move it forward into the 21st, 22nd century.
Yeah, totally agree. Okay. Well, somebody who did appear, May 30th, 1989, one of the most revered bands in history came to Preston. The Stone Roses. Were you there? Let me know. studio@preston.fm. So a big thank you there to Norman Tenray and Tony Morgan for talking about the BIBAs. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
If you have any news or events you'd like to share with Hughie and our Chat City team, why not give us an email? chatcity@preston.fm.